Welcome back in to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. So many national companies promise you the moon when it comes to security systems for your home or office, but when you do the comparison, the contracts, what's provided, cost, quality, none of those national groups beat the local king, Safety Systems. I tell you this every week. There's a reason when you're in a East Tennessee business, you walk in the front door and you see that orange, black, and white sticker on the door that says Safety Systems. They know what they're doing. They've got a team they trust. VFL JJ Surlis is the guy to call. You can call the team. You can visit them online. Learn more about how to get them to protect your home, protect your office, protect your people. Safety Systems. All right. As a reminder, we are going to be counting down the biggest villain for Vol fans of the last 20 years, biggest heroes. But we're going to finish up this discussion, which has been pretty interesting. The biggest what if. If one thing changes, it impacts so much of the university. And I want to know what the biggest thing is. And I'm going to start down here. We are down to the final three. Brown is interim instead of hiring Dooley. Fulmer wins the SEC title instead of losing to LSU in 2007. And therefore, in 2008, when it goes off the cliff, he may have survived it, probably would have survived it. David Cutcliffe, if he doesn't leave.
Right.
In 2000, yeah, what would that have been? 2008 is when he left, yeah. If David Cutcliffe doesn't get the Duke job and sticks around. Chuck, what do you vote as the top? Let's not weed here. What's your vote for the top? What's number one most impactful? Would it change most?
The number one most impactful to me, I would narrow it down to two. I can see how you would say Coach Fulmer, especially with what happened soon after that, but I still say, I mean, Cutcliffe, I think I would look at that one because I think if Fulmer stays, it's going to be tough to make a decision, right? After the bad season, the bad year coming up. Brown is interim. I think we all know how we feel about that. I think to me, I would keep Fulmer 07 title and Brown as interim.
And you would remove the Cutcliffe?
I would remove the Cutcliffe.
See, and I would almost go the opposite way because I think the value of Cutcliffe has been borne out over time.
I understand.
I think Fulmer without Cutcliffe worries me.
Cutcliffe staying is number one on my list.
Number one on my list.
Because if he had stayed, I don't think you'd had 08.
Right.
And if he had stayed, you'd had continued success, in my opinion. So I think Cutcliffe, if he had stayed, I think that was the biggest impact.
But if he stays, it's for how long? And the last thing I would wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If Brown is the interim, you don't have Derek Dooley.
Correct.
Correct. And that's what.
But you still have to make a good hire a year later.
You still have to
make,
but you don't get stuck with a guy with a losing record.
Yeah, you don't hire a guy who's 4-8 out of Louisiana who doesn't recruit any offensive
And it's tough. I agree, it's tough.
But my thing is, the reason I agree with Jimmy is because, you know, if Coach Cutcliffe is there with Coach Fulmer, which has proven to be a great team, you know, you have more winning seasons and you have a job that becomes available under different circumstances, not a firing, and people want the job. We had to remember, people didn't want the job back then.
Oh, yeah, because it was January.
Oh, yeah. So if you come into a situation that's more welcoming or more people wanting the job, maybe we'd have hired someone that everybody loved right away.
All right, so there's three of us here that think it's Cutcliffe stays. That means Cutcliffe stays wins. Sorry, that's the way. So he's out. Bob, what were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say was out in the first round with Alexander not hit.
That's right.
But I was going to go with Fulmer winning the 07 title. Yeah. And I think y'all's point about Cutcliffe, though, I think that's fantastic and is probably better. But if he wins in 07, I don't think he gets fired after 08. I think that then all of the stuff that has been in motion since then goes a different direction. Now, it may still be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think it's a dumpster fire with different players.
Dempster players.
That's my own plug. Yeah. You all now owe me money. But no, it may still be a dumpster fire, but it's with different players. So it might have been just as bad, but I don't think, you know, Kiffin's not here. Dooley's probably not a part of it. So that's the reason I would have gone with
it's not an outsider dumpster fire. It's our dumpster fire.
And one the winning record.
Although you got a local dumpster fire when Fulmer came back and brought in Jeremy.
There you go.
And I think Fulmer's winning record with Cutcliffe wasn't it like 84%? Without him was like 72%. That's
60-something%.
Yeah, I mean to me that's close. But if he stays, my question
it wasn't close. It was like 20% difference.
How long does he stay?
That's true.
So that's the variable. I didn't know
if he has another good year, does somebody else come and get him? We don't know.
Sure.
But if you're giving me, you keep Fulmer without Cutcliffe, or you keep Fulmer and Cutcliffe, Oh, it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Fulmer and Cutcliffe to me. That's the one that's the biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, without question. I think it's Coach Cutcliffe because Chucky C. How long it goes, we don't know. But if it say it was another 4 years of winning and it being involved in the SEC championship game, 4 years in a row, and now you got a program that said we win a couple of them, and then
Okay, now you are
no,
going.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not.
You're Sterling
No,
again.
I'm not Sterling. No, but see, all I'm doing is basing on the last fact, which 07 was.
Hey, I didn't even cavaliers the question
I'm
like
not
that.
cavaliersing. I'm just saying if that happens, we have more traditional winning records in a row.
It doesn't go off the cliff, sure.
It doesn't go. We welcome a Coach Fulmer retires first getting fired. Maybe Coach Cutcliffe becomes
maybe
our
if it's 4
maybe
years,
he becomes
yeah.
our
Right,
head coach.
right.
I agree
Maybe
with
Cutcliffe
that.
becomes our head coach.
Yeah, well, okay. Now we're going
No,
way
it's
down
just-
fantasy world.
Why
It's a
is
what if
that
scenario.
fantasy?
We don't need to go that far down.
But why is that fantasy?
Very good. When we come back,
I don't know. I don't understand.
who is the biggest villain for Tennessee fans over the last 20 years? Biggest villain, and we're going to keep it football and men's
David
basketball.
Cutcliffe
since,
leaving.
David Cutcliffe for leaving. Who is the biggest villain? We got biggest hero. We got terms that are going to be memorable. We're going to salute to the legends we've lost over the 20 years. Come on back on the Sports Source.